What's going on? It's a Miz in the midday. And it's the Miz's picks for Thanksgiving. Tomorrow, Thursday, there's 3 games in the NFL in a league where they play for pay. Game number 1. The 3 wins in a row Detroit Lions are coming home for Thanksgiving to meet the Buffalo Bills, who have been in Detroit for 2 straight games due to the blizzard in Buffalo. Now the Bills took a ride back home, practiced, do things at home with the families as Buffalo faced a 6-foot snowstorm, helped the community out, and drove or flew back to Detroit. I gotta believe the Bills are a little bit tired. The Lions are coming off a big win on the Giants. They laid the smackdown. They've won 3 in a row. And the coach has the Lions believing a young team on the rise. The Buffalo Bills are favored by 9.5, I believe. Leave the game alone. Don't touch this game. But push comes to shove, the Bills will win the game. On to game 2. The New York Football Giants is 7-3 and they travel to hated Dallas, Texas to play the Dallas Cowboys, who are coming off a trashing of the Vikings in Minnesota 40-3, where they dominated the game in every single phase of football. And Pollard is emerging as a monster. And Zeke is healthy. The Dallas O-line is healthy. Dak is playing good football. And the Cowboys front 7, to me, is the best defense in the NFL, led by the best defender in all football, Micah Parsons. And Lawrence on the other side on the edge is no slouch. Okay? The Cowboys are strong, whether you like to believe it or not, and I'm a Giant fan, but I gotta keep it real. The Cowboys football team with that power 1-2 horse running game in Pollard and Zeke, that O-line and that front 7 on defense, which is with a good enough secondary, and Diggs. The Cowboys are built for the January run, and they could go out on the road into any cold place and win this January because they're built to play in it. And the Giants are crippled. They were destroyed by the Lions, and the game changed when they were up 6-3, and Adoree Jackson returning punts, which was a huge mistake in my mind before they even put him out there, hurt his leg, and he's gone now 3 to 5 weeks. And the second Adoree Jackson came out of that secondary, that defense turned, and the entire game turned, and the Lions took full advantage of the game down the field. The Cowboys are favored by 10. They are in great shape right now. The Giants are a walking ER, and they're walking into a Lions den in my eyes. As a diehard Giant fan, I gotta keep it real. The Giants are not prepared for this game this week. Not because of coaching, because they have some of the best coaching in football, and I know they'll try to come up with a game plan, but because the Giants are crippled. They're walking in with 0 starting secondary outside of Love. They're gonna have 2 kid corners that should never be on an NFL field in this type of game. Rodarius Williams and Flott, who to me should not be playing right now. So I would think more about putting Darnay Holmes out there. You're going to be using Love all over the place, but it's going to take him away from the strength of his game. You got Landon Collins, but I don't know if he's of age anymore to play the secondary, so you'd have to stick him around the linebacking area, which has been very weak the last 2 games itself. You're missing Azeez. You're missing half your O-line. Evan Neal and Bellinger will be kept out 1 more week for the big Washington game, which right now is looking like the biggest game of the year next week in New York. Because the Washington Redskins are crawling right on the Giants' backside, 1 game out. We'll see what Daniel Jones can do with just two wide receivers, Slayton and Kenny Golladay. And like I've said before, it's time the Giants start forcing the ball down the field to Golladay. It's their only shot. The Cowboys are favored by 10 at home. We all know traditionally they have tough times at home on Thanksgiving. But I just don't know if the Giants have the arsenal to keep up for 4 quarters. The Giants can play 2.5 quarters in this game. I just don't know if they're going to last 4. And you're starting to ask way too much out of Barkley. As you can see, he's hurting on his shoulder. Well, he's a horse. The Cowboys are favored by 10. If I was anyone who's putting a cookie on the game, you take by a point and a half, take Dallas down to -8.5. The Cowboys cover the game. I like the Cowboys to win this game 31-20. In Game 3. Game 3 is a night game in Minnesota. The Vikings are coming off an embarrassment. One of the top teams in football, coming off an emotional high, beating up on Buffalo, came home, and they were a perfect setting for Dallas, was coming off a tough loss to Green Bay, so they were walking in angry, and it was right. The Vikings had won 7 in a row. They were due for a loss. I gave you the Cowboys last week to win the game outright. The Vikings are favored by 2.5. Vegas showing respect to New England, coming off a 10-3 win on the Jets with a kickoff with no time left to steal the game. It was 3-3 for the entire game. The Jets defense had New England locked down in New England. The Vikings are coming off an embarrassing loss 40-3. The Vikings are home on Thanksgiving on a night game on prime time. The Minnesota Vikings are favored 2.5. The Minnesota Vikings will win this game and cover the 2.5. Give me the Vikings in this game. 17-13. Minnesota Vikings win the game. My lock of the day is the Vikings. That's his Thanksgiving picks from The Miz. Happy Thanksgiving.